Whoa. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And it is time once again for Monday mini medicine card readings. If you are new here, the way this works is the first 5 people to say yes in the comments get a 1-card medicine card reading. Hi, Lasati! Yay! It's always good to see you, my friend. So, again, first 5 people say yes in the comments get a 1-card medicine card reading. And if you are watching this on replay, like watching it repeat, whatever, you can still take part. It is as many times as you want to watch the video, because all you need to do is choose a number between 1 and 5 and pay attention to that card when it comes up. And I promise, even if you're watching this 10 years from now, that there will be something on this, in the video, in the card you choose, that pertains to what you need to know, because it's about frequency, it's about resonance. And if that's what you're you're guided to follow, if that's what you choose, the universe is constantly speaking to us. So, before I get to the actual readings, pull out my trusty drum. I'm gonna set sacred space. That just kind of helps us to focus our energy, especially as the reader. Helps me to focus and be able to open up for clearer messages coming in. And so, spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Oh. All right. So, again, welcome everybody. If you're new here, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. We're going to do some medicine card readings. Hi, Anna. Yay. Kind of waiting for a few more people to come. And my phone is like right, there's only 3 people watching, if I can trust those numbers on the top. But like the numbers are like right in that sunspot right there, so I can't even see the numbers. But they will give it a little bit of time, for just a couple of minutes. I've got some announcements to make anyway, and maybe some more people will come on, or not, because it's summertime. I was just singing a Duran Duran song, and that way I know it's summer. It's like full summer. If I'm singing Duran Duran or listening to Duran Duran, it's summertime. But so the usual kind of things. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That helps me out. That helps others find me. It affects the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And plus, I have like 8 or 9 years worth of these videos on my YouTube channel. And so if you ever need guidance, you can go on my YouTube channel. You can pull out mini Monday mini medicine card readings video from anywhere from the present time to like 9 years ago. Just pick one at random, choose a number of the card and listen, and you will get your guidance. Or I also have a ton of, on Wednesdays, I do sacred pipe ceremony on live video. And I have, if you ever need to just sit in sacred space, in ceremonial space, and just receive the blessings from spirit, to just quiet, to put the world outside, so that you can focus and align with the world inside, that the real world, the one inside of you. You can pick out any of the weekly pipe ceremonies that I've got on there. And if you enjoy my work, please share my video. And, you know, I used to do these on Facebook. I started doing them on YouTube, figuring that might get a wider audience, trying to get my voice out further and further, because the more the merrier, right? So please share far and wide. And if you enjoy my videos too, you can, and you want to work with me one-on-one, you can check my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can find out more about me. You can find out the different shamanic services I offer, and you can sign up for a session right there on my website. And like with the scheduling thing, I was just realizing the other day that, you know, my whole internet thing has been a little wonky lately. So if you ever get on and you want a session with me and there's no times available, or the scheduling site is wonky or whatever, you can always just contact me through my website. There's a contact page. You can just put it in there and ask to set up a session, and I will get back to you, and we can find a time that corresponds for both of us. But readings and teachings and healings, oh my. You can do card readings. I do shamanic healings like soul retrieval and fairy doctoring, shamanic Reiki, and I also teach. I've got some classes coming up, but I also do one-on-one mentoring if you are looking for a spiritual teacher, in particular a shamanic teacher, then I'm right here. I would be honored to be your teacher. I come with decades of experience and teachings and all of that stuff to help you find your own path. Hi, Gudo. Is that Gudo? My eyes are kind of... Gudo BCN, welcome. Tell you what, I will put you on the list. You will be number 2. And I will pull a card for you, and we'll see what happens. Awesome. So, finishing up my announcements and stuff, this is my day job. So, if you enjoy my work, my videos, if you've had readings or classes with me and you want to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, PayPal and Venmo links are in the description under this video. Anything you wish to give goes straight to supporting me and my kitty. Oh, I thought she was in her... It's got her little tent to the side here, but I'm not sure where she went to. Anyway, it supports me and my kitty, keeps the roof over her head and food in her little belly. I also have, if you are or have been a student or a client with me, then this coming Saturday, the 11th, I'm calling it a student council. We're going to do like a circle, drum circle, ceremonial circle, at Riverview Park, right down here in Renton, if you're local, at noon on July 11th, Christmas in July. They actually had eggnog in the store when I went last night. That's crazy. Anyway, so this coming Saturday from noon to 3, um, if any clients or students of mine are welcome to come join us, it's free. We're just going to kind of catch up. I've lost track of so many people, and I just kind of want to do a catch up, find out what we can do, what I can do to help serve my community, like what kind of classes people are interested in, what kind of guidance, healing, or whatever. So kind of get caught up, get on the same page, and drum and do ceremony together. So that'll be really fun. And then the following Saturday, in the same place in Riverview Park at noon, I am going to be doing my Introduction to Shamanic Journey class. What better place to take a shamanic class than outside in the trees with the birds and the deer and the bunnies? So that information, it's on my Facebook page, my Perching Wolf Studios Facebook page. I haven't gotten it up on my website yet. I'm kind of the only one. I don't have any helpers or anything. So sometimes it takes me a while to get to things, but I will be putting that up on my website momentarily as soon as I get done with this tonight. And yeah, so it's like 3 hours. Not only do you learn about shamanism, but you will learn the technique of shamanic journeying, which shamans have used for over 100,000 years to access their spirit guides through direct revelation, going straight to spirit, straight to source to get your guidance. So it's a relationship, and you will meet and interact with one of your power animal spirit guides. So it's the beginning of a relationship, a conversation that can last lifetimes. So, all right, I think that's all my plugs. So far, we've only got 2 people, so if there's anyone that's come in the meantime and you would like a 1-card reading, all you have to do is say yes in the comments. Here we go. First card is for Anna. Ha! All right. So card number 1 for Anna. This was one of the like house favorites. It used to come up all the time, and I have not seen it in a really long time. So, but card number 1 is Moose in reverse. Sorry about that. I was just so excited to see Moose. It has been months and months and months since Moose has come up in a reading, so I'm just happy to see him. So Moose is, I'm going to need to keep track of my cards. Oh, I didn't say this because at the end, however many cards we have, because we may not get to 5 cards tonight. We've only got 2 so far, so we'll see how it goes. But at the end, I will take all the cards from the individual readings and put them together in a community reading. So I need to keep track of which ones come up. And I appreciate your bearing with me. Okay, so for Anna, card number 1 with Moose in reverse. Moose is about self-esteem. Moose Moose medicine is what I call majestic dorkiness. Moose is one of the most majestic, powerful animals that you will ever see. If you've ever seen one in person, you know what I'm talking about because they have a presence. It's like royalty. They're like, and so powerful. And at the same time, they're one of the darkest looking animals on the planet. And so when moose pops up, it's it's kind of the words that are coming to me right now is radical self-acceptance. You know, it's really embracing all of the uniqueness of who you are, your passions, your talents, your identity, and allowing that to shine, right? It doesn't mean you have to get up on your soapbox on the corner and be preaching and like look at me, but there's an authenticity where you know that you are enough, that when you hide parts of yourself, like when there are certain things that you were probably teased about as a kid, or even today, like your friends might kind of goad you about certain things you do or certain ways you think about things or whatever that is. And so we tend to shy away from that. We tend to like hide it, like kind of try to, you know, stash it in our back pocket or something, right? So that nobody sees it, because then we're safe. But the thing is that not only when you do that are you squelching your own power and your own authenticity, and you're shrinking your own frequency, right? Hi, Kim. Oh, thank you, Kim. Yes, you are number 3. So moose, what was I saying? Oh, it's like that. There's that Marianne Williamson quote about how it's not our darkness that we fear, it's that we are powerful beyond measure. Um, well, thanks, Kim. I appreciate you. Um, it's not our it's not our darkness that we fear, it's our light, right? And it's like that, and I'm totally paraphrasing here because it's a really long quote and I can never remember all the words, but there's a part in there about how there is nothing enlightened about playing small for the comfort of others. Chances are, especially if you were a woman, right? And so I'm not talking just to Anna right now, but anyone else that's listening or who chose card number 1, the same things that are admired in men are looked down upon in women. And so many women, and I know this because 99.9% of my friends are women, but you're always told that you're too much, you're too loud. Um, and so we tend to start hiding parts of ourselves, or we don't reveal everything. And so we're always kind of walking around with our hands in our pockets, or um, it's like trying to fit into this box that society gives us to be acceptable, but there's no way any of us can fit into that box. And so there's always something sticking out. And because we're trying to hide it, it usually sticking out at some weird angle, and it's basically just kind of kind of shooting our own selves in the foot in a way, because we're like trying to hide these parts, and so we can't be ourselves. We can't be at our full vibration because we're trying to hide something. And so we're hobbling ourselves. That's the word I was looking for. Because we can't walk with our full stride if we're trying to hide the extra toe we have on our left foot or whatever that, symbolically. Um, and so it's about showing up. It's about being present. And it doesn't mean you necessarily, just keep turning in circles so everyone can see every part of you, but you are comfortable enough in your own skin and authentic enough. Here's the power in this, that the more transparent you are, the more true to yourself you are, the more authentic you are, the less places there are for people to get their hooks into you, right? Because it's those places that we feel shame. It's those places where we feel guilty. It's those places that we feel awkward, that we don't fit in, etc. Those are the places that people can get their hooks in and then pull on them and make us even more uncomfortable. But if you're comfortable with who you are in your awkwardness, there's nothing anyone can say or do to you to knock you off center, right? So it's kind of this unapologetically showing up and being your full self. Allowing yourself, it's like not, like Kyle Cease talks about this, about, he's someone I follow on YouTube and different places, and he does these whole weekend long seminars with no script, no, oh hey Val, no script, nothing planned. He just gets up on stage and starts talking. Because if he were to have something written down or have something scripted, he's not fully present. He's doing something from memory, or he's reading something. So his focus is on the paper, right? So that he is not fully present. And I teach that way. I might have notes like a skeleton of what I want to teach, but in my classes, no two classes that I teach are ever the same, because I do the same thing. I show up, I kind of know what I'm going to be talking about, and then I just open up and allow Spirit to take us where it needs to go. And so I'm fully present for those who I'm talking to. And that means being fully present with your emotions. Like Sandra Ingerman has been my greatest shamanic teacher for many, many years now. And I was in one of her classes in Santa Fe when her father was dying. And she was teaching this 5-day class. And we were all right there. It was close to her home so that she could run home every night and see her father, take care of her father, all this stuff. And then while we were there, her father actually died. Her father actually passed over. And she took, I remember how much, she took like at least part of a day off. She might have taken most of one day or one day off, and then she came back. And talk about integrity in a teacher. She said up front, it's like, my dad just died, right? But trying to, my glasses are kind of screwed up, but Butane? Butana? Let me finish what I'm saying, and then I will. I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying, but my mind is on a different track, so I'll come back to you. Okay. Um, so, she came back after her father died, after she had spent time doing what she needed to do, get preparations and different things. And she just was up front. She's like, my dad just died. I am grieving. And so there are going to be times that I am going to break down and cry in front of you. Just let me cry, get it out, and then we will go on. Well, thank you. Is it Butana? Welcome. I'm glad you're here. But it's like showing up, not like, she could have been like, oh, I can't teach anymore because, my dad just died, which would have been totally acceptable. But at the same time, oh, I'm so sorry, Guido. I'm so sorry that your dad just passed away. I will keep you in my prayers. And I mentioned earlier the pipe that I do, sacred pipe ceremony. And I have a little book that I keep with my tobacco for my pipe with prayer intentions, and I will write you down in that. And so that every time I do pipe ceremony, you will be there, and I will send blessings to your dad and to you. So I lost my dad like 10 years ago, so sometimes it's just as fresh as when it happened. You're welcome. So she could have, taken the whole rest of the course off and just canceled her, had one of her teacher assistants finish it for her. But she came and started teaching, but she could have tried to hide like what she was going through. But instead she was just like, this is what I'm going through. And I need to feel these things. That's part of the healing process. And so she did. And there were a couple of times where she would, in the middle of a sentence, she would just break down and kind of like she usually taught like she would kneel. And it was like she would just start crying, and she would kind of crumble down into kind of a fetal position for a minute or two. And she'd take a deep breath, and she would sit back up, and she would go right on. So, wow, lots of dad losses. Okay. It feels significant, and I don't know, maybe when I get to you, Guido, with your reading, we'll see what happens. But because we're all connected, and because, even though you might choose one card in however many we do tonight, every card has some meaning to you. And, Moose is the largest of the deer family, right? And the male has these giant antlers, this crown, kingly, right? And whereas other, antlers and such tend to be kind of like antennas, right? You can picture like a deer with the antennas, with the antlers being. You're a shaman when there's always antlers within reach, right? Antlers. Beep, 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 beep. But Moose has basically a radar dish on his head, right? And so crown chakra, seventh chakra, radar, receiving everything, just wide open, receiving that light and alignment from spirit. Um, and so, in a way, for everyone who's watching this right now, especially the ones who have lost their dad, the reverse is kind of like um, becoming your own sovereign, right? And claiming your own crown, claiming your own connection to source. Um, you know, this is an interesting night. Things are just not going. This is just not a normal night. Um, but realizing, with Moose, realizing that who you are, your identity, is not dependent on the opinion of others. Um, so I feel like this card went beyond what Anna was needing for guidance, but at the same time, being reversed, it's about. So one of the journeys I did with Sandra Ingerman, one of her classes, we did a journey to our spirit guides and asked them to show us how power actually works, as in like personal power, etc. Um, Tana, I'm going to put you on my list, okay? Because you've got a lot of questions and a lot of things, and I want to make sure I give you at least a bit of what you need, okay? So hang in there. But so what my guides showed me, they showed me 3 people, and these people were like, they all believed that their personal power depended on other people, on getting power from other people, or that other people's power depended on them giving their power to them. So it was this really ugly, kind of toxic tug of war where some people were trying to give their power to others, and at the same time, um, because they believed they were superior, like, oh, that person needs my power. It was like unwanted. It was like more energy being kind of cast onto this other person that they didn't need. And other people are trying to steal power from the other one, thinking that that's how it works, the dog eat dog world, right? Then all of a sudden, one of the people in the scenario that I was watching, I'm watching them, and it's like I can see the power. It's like these light beams going back and forth between these people, right? And it's kind of this horizontal play back and forth. And all of a sudden, one of the people, all this energy that they were putting out or taking in, just went vertical, and it was like they connected in to their own source. They aligned with their own spirit, realizing that that source, divinity, God, whatever you want to label that, is the only source of your energy, is the only source of your power, right? And so all of a sudden, there's just these 2 people back and forth trying to balance their power, take power, gain power, or give power. And all of a sudden, one of them noticed that first person, and they went and connected. Well, once the two connected, there was no one for this third person to connect to try to get things laterally. So that person, their energy connected. So, and I think that's part of what they talk about. There, it only takes so much percent of 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 humanity to awaken in order for the whole world to awaken, right? And it's kind of like that. It's like once there's no one else, the more of us that are walking on the planet, passionate, awaken, with coming from a place of heart and love, um, there's less places for other people to try to steal that power. And you can see it in the world. You can see it in even in businesses and like kind of grassroots organizations and stuff that are rising in popularity, that are gaining more power than like the old structures, the old good old boys clubs and stuff like that. Um, and so it's all about that, opening that crown chakra, and trusting that light that comes, connecting to source directly, not through someone else, not asking everyone else for opinions, or what should I do here or what should I do there, but trusting your own heart, your own alignment to guide you, right? Because if you do things before you align, all you're doing is moving things around. All you're doing is rearranging boxes. There's no real change taking place. But if you align first, that radical self-acceptance, there's nothing anyone can take from you. There's nothing people can throw onto you, and you're totally self-sufficient. Um, and that's what a light worker does. No one really talks about. I haven't heard anyone really talk about this for a long time, but way back when they used to talk about the basic duty of a light worker, healer, reader, whatever name you might put on them, is to just be the light, to anchor the light into the physical world, right? More than anything you ever do, who you are is greater. And by just being present, you heal the world, right? Oh, I'm so glad that this is helping, Butina. Butina, I'm not even sure how to say your name. And I can, like, my glasses aren't Butina. Yeah, so um, believe in yourself. I've probably given enough time to this card, but believe in yourself. Know that you are perfect. Like Mr. Rogers said, you are perfect just the way you are. You're a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. You are spirit first. Your default setting is spirit. That is who you truly are. That is who you are as soul, that eternal part of you that has existed before time began and will exist long after time ends. You are eternal and you are naturally high vibrational. So it's more about letting go of the things that hold you down and make you feel less than, or worthless or whatever, so that you can rise to the place where you're meant to be. Majestic dorkiness. Be unapologetically yourself. And it's like Dr. Seuss said, those who, let's see, give me a second. Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. All right, card number 2 for Gudo. All right, interesting. So card number 2 for you're so welcome, Martina. It's my job to help. So card number 2 for Gudo is deer in reversed. Kind of interesting. We've got 2 deer starting out. And again, like deer just brings the sense to me of royalty. Bettina, you're talking about psychology and what relates to the self. Hello, Samurai. Welcome. Ian. Hi, Ian. Am I talking about psychology and what relates to the self? Kind of. But more from a spiritual side than psychology. I don't know a lot about psychology. I took psychology in school and stuff, but if anything, a lot of what I talk about is kind of Jungian. I love Jung, and that's kind of like there's like this thin line between psychology and spirit, right? So, getting back to card number 2 for Gudo, deer. Hi, Eileen. No, I did not watch the World Cup. Deer is, like I said, it's kind of the sense of royalty. Like whenever I see a deer, it's just, it's like time stops, the world stops, and it's like this acknowledgement, because when you see a deer, most likely the deer has already seen you. So it's that sense of being seen. That's an interesting, and being seen with those big Bambi eyes, right? I just got 4 on the counter. It's like those big Bambi eyes, like eyes of wonder, eyes of the child that just takes everything in. right? And looks at the world from a place of wonder, of curiosity, and without filters, and just sees things as they are. And so it's kind of this being seen by spirit, by the divine, being witnessed. Um, yeah, innocence, in your innocence, without um, judgments or labels or anything else. And there's this sense of deer is about compassion. In fact, there's a story that goes with deer that I love. I love telling this story. I love this story so much. So one day, Great Spirit was on his mountain, and it was such a glorious day, and he was so filled with joy that he invited all the woodland creatures to come up to the top of his mountain and and celebrate life with him, right? And the thing is that none of the woodland creatures answered his invite because there was a troll that lived at the base of his mountain, and they were all afraid of the troll. All except Deer, who comes bounding up, all excited to go party with Great Spirit. And when she gets to the base of the mountain, that troll jumps out and roars in her face. And Deer, rather than, rearing up to fight or running away in fear, just kind of cocked her head, looked at him with those great big eyes, and just said, "Why are you so hurt? What did someone do to you to hurt you so bad? What's caused you so much pain?" Right? And she was so with those big old eyes with no filters, saw through the facade of fear and danger and threat to the heart of a fellow being that was in pain, witnessing this being, completely. And the troll, who thrived on conflict and fear, found none of those in Deer, so he just kind of just faded away. And so Deer, by doing it, was basically the same thing as the namaste, right? The divine in me sees the divine in you. She was in her heart. She looked through the facade of this being to the heart and could see what was actually happening with this being. She could see the divinity. She could see the pain. And so by acknowledging it, having compassion for that troll, she freed him. And she also opened up the path for all the other woodland creatures to go up the mountain to celebrate with Great Spirit. So it wasn't through, battle and beating the heck out of your enemy to clear the path. It was through compassion. It was about that oneness, seeing the resonance, seeing the divine in someone else, and acknowledging it, that allowed her to clear the path for everybody else. And so it's, especially in reverse, it's about, Deer is about looking at yourself with those big old eyes. The same leeway that you give others, the same excuses that you give to others, like you're so much harder on yourself than you are on anybody else. It's like you hold yourself to a higher standard, which isn't fair. It's not fair to you, right? And so it's being able to look at yourself and see that divinity within you. Have that compassion for yourself, because no one else can know exactly what you have been through, what you have faced in your life, what challenges you've come through. Um, and so only you are able to give yourself that compassion that you need, right? So give yourself grace, right? Deer, if nothing else, deer is graceful. Everything they do is graceful, just the way they move, right? And um, it's like, borrowing from Moose, the card before, and that radical self-acceptance, it's like giving yourself, how do I put this? What am I trying to say here? To realize that whatever you are feeling, whatever you are going through is right. That there is no wrong. There is no wrong path. There is no wrong decisions. That you are always in the right place at the right time. And that the universe is on your side. The universe has your back. The universe loves you. And if the vastness of creation, the vastness of infinity can love little old you, who are you to challenge that? If in the mosaic of the universe, the vastness of the universe, that you are still beloved of the source of that universe, you're worthy. You deserve that. You deserve that love. You deserve that grace. You have never done anything wrong. Anything you have ever done has been for the experience. And that experience becomes wisdom. Kind of like how Edison discovered 1,001 ways how not to make a light bulb, right? Every mistake, every wrong path he went down helped him to focus on where he wanted to go. So even when you find yourself making mistakes or ending up someplace where you didn't want to be or wasn't your intention to be, you can realize that even that has value, and that there's no the universe doesn't judge you. The spirits don't judge you. You are the only one who judges yourself as being not good enough or not worthy enough. But you are just as worthy, just as beautiful, just as graceful as deer, right? And Bettina mentioned earlier innocence. It's like there's an innocence. So deer for me, Artemis, Artemis, the Greek goddess of the hunt, the archer, one of her main totem animals is deer. So whenever I see a deer in the wild, it's like a visitation from her for me. And she is She's the goddess of the wild and the goddess of innocence. It's like we don't normally in our society equate those two words, innocence and wildness. Wildness is something to, you know, to capture, to box in, or to control. And then we wonder why we can't find innocence, because innocence is wild. As beautiful as deer is, the innocence of deer, they're also wild. They are untamed. They are beautiful in their wildness. And so give yourself that same appreciation. Allow yourself to be feral. Allow yourself to be wild. Allow yourself to jump the fences that people try to box you in with. And to still be able to look at people with that compassion of, you know, I was talking about earlier with that personal power. There's nobody that can take that away from you, because that's who you are. So there might be some inner child work here that would do you some good. Connect with that inner child and ask that inner child what they think of who you are right now. Besides being a shaman, I'm also a cartoonist. And I remember doing, I just, it's just fresh in my mind because I was just talking to someone about this, that I did a comic like years ago, but I kind of was talking about how a cartoonist is all I've ever wanted to be in my life. And now it's like I draw like every day. I draw comics. I haven't really gotten. I've done some self-publishing, and if you want to see my comics, I've got the link to my blog that I post my comics on in the description. drawingbreath-comic.blogspot.com. You can see my latest. But anyway, so I was talking about my youth and wanting to draw comics all my life, and how I think who I was back then would be really proud of me now. And so I drew my adult self showing my younger self one of my comics, and my younger self was like, needs more dinosaurs. No judgment, just needs more dinosaurs. And so it's like allow your inner like your inner child is that wild innocence that you're looking for, but we mistakenly try to protect that innocence, thinking that that innocence needs to be protected, and so we end up caging it rather than letting it free, right? Well, thank you, Bhutana. Oh, I appreciate that. But so it's like allowing that inner child to play. It's allowing that inner child to, rather than taking a back seat or being, you know, caging them up to try to protect them until we get things figured out, right? It's that bubbly, joyful, wild joy that we're looking for, and it's inside of us the whole time. We just need to free it. We just need to let it out. And to look at ourselves through that little one's eyes. I did a journey one time about back to like my teenage self. I was talking to my teenage self, And one of my main power animals is a reindeer named Nathaniel. And so I'm sitting here on this park bench. My like 16-year-old is sitting next to me, petting my reindeer. And he was like, "You have no idea how wondrous your life looks to me." And I'm just like, I've got, I'm an adult, I have bills, I have all these things that are messy and trying to figure out and blah, blah, blah. But through the eyes of my teenage inner child, inner teenager, everything I was doing was miraculous, was amazing. So spend some time talking to your inner child. See what they have to say. See what they can do about releasing that troll that keeps them boxed up. Okay? You're welcome, Butina. All right. God, it is a weird night. I don't know if you guys noticed that things feel really weird tonight. Like I feel like I'm kind of going off topic, all kinds of stuff, but it feels right. All right. So card number 3 for Kim. I hope you're so welcome, Gudo. I hope that was helpful. And one thing, when I pull these cards and when an animal shows up, that is not just symbolic. Okay, I'm a shaman. I work with the animal spirits. Oh, hey, Gage. Oh my God, you're in Colorado doing the firefighting stuff. Thank you. Oh my God. I am going to put you in my little book of intentions as well. Keep you safe, keep all the firefighters safe. So. Well, have fun, Gage. I'm glad you got a day off. Enjoy yourself and thank you for doing what you do. It's amazing. Instead of running away from danger, you run toward it. I appreciate you. All right. So card number 3 for Kim. Oh, I was saying, I was in the middle of a sentence. When I pull these cards, this is not just symbolic. When I pull these cards, I am connecting to the spirit of that animal. And the messages that I bring out are coming from the spirit of that animal. They are volunteering to be with you and to help you out through whatever is happening right now. And so as you go on from here, forward, feel free to call that animal, whoever you got, whatever card, call that animal through your week and ask them to help you remember who you are, remember what you need to know to thrive and to get through whatever you are facing. These are living sentient beings there to help you. Like Sandra Ingerman always said, there is no symbolism in shamanism. All right, now to card number 3 for Kim. Cool. All right. I've had ticks, yeah. I used to live in Minnesota. I was raised in Minnesota, and I was always playing in the woods and the tall grasses and stuff like that. Um, and so whenever I came home from playing, the first thing my mom would say to me is, take off your shirt and lean over the sink. And she would get out the tweezers and plick, pluck, plick, pluck. Anyway, card number 3 for Kim is Hawk. Hawk is the messenger of the gods, which is kind of interesting coming while Mercury is in retrograde, because Mercury, or Hermes, is the messenger of the gods. Trust the guidance that comes to you. You are further along than you think you are. And it's time to pay attention to the feelings, to the images, to the words that are coming to you. And it's important to start trusting the words that are coming through you. Like when you feel the impulse to speak, if someone asks you something, and no matter how weird the thought is that comes into your head, it's like trusting that that is the absolutely right thing to say. Like as I was in training and learning to be a reader and a shaman and stuff, it's one of the things they talk about that I learned for myself is that when your intuition is telling you something, when you're kind of picking up on things, giving someone a reading or just speaking to someone, it's the weird things that come up that are the validating things, because those are the things, it makes no sense to you. You're like, what the heck is that doing there? Why am I seeing this thing? But it's important to trust and to say what you see, because that's the one detail that's going to validate it for the person you're speaking to. And they'll be like, oh my God, I just said that same exact thing to my sister or my mom or whatever. Or someone just told me that the other day. Or, oh my God, I can't believe that you saw that thing. I was going through my old stuff and I found my old trophy or whatever it is, right? And so it's that trust that, like in shamanism, we talk about being the hollow bone, right? And it's like you have done the work to clear yourself of so many filters and judgments that you can trust what's coming through as being pure. That you don't have to question every little thing. And the more you do that, the more you will trust it, right? And that's why when I do readings for people, even like this, I don't ask what they need or what's their question or anything else. I would rather go into a reading blind because then the things that come through, number one, I can trust it more because I know my brain isn't just taking something this person said and somehow like putting it into the answer. And then plus, since the other person didn't tell me these things, when I say them out loud, it's that much more verifying to them that that they are not alone, right? That what their experience is being seen, that it has meaning. And so, like Hawk, it's like your job is to fly to the sky, fly down to the earth, fly up into the sky, fly down to the earth. It's like shamans have, said to have a foot in both worlds. It's like you can take what you receive from the sky and you can bring it down and anchor it to the earth in a way that is meaningful to other people. So trust your heart. See with your heart. Right? Hawk is just like eagle, like we talked about the eagle eye, right? And hawk's eyes are so keen as well. In fact, um, these cards are limited in the number of animals it has in it, but sometimes, like, the card I pull will kind of refer to another animal, like this, for instance, hawk, kind of pointing toward falcon, right? There's no falcon card, but falcon is the one who has the shoot, Osiris and Horus. Falcon is the one who has the eye of Horus, right? A falcon's eye, they have the markings on it. That's where the eye of Horus comes from. And Horus is the Egyptian god that had the falcon head, right? And so, it's about trusting that sight, being that apex predator, trusting what you see, and trusting yourself to report, to express that, to bring that from the sky down to the earth. Does that make sense at all? And Falcon coming up, Horus was the reincarnation of Osiris, right? Am I getting that backwards? Osiris was the husband of Isis, and his brother Seth killed him, chopped him up into 13 pieces, and cast all those pieces to the winds. And Isis went around the world finding all those parts and put them back together, and then bore, like, from union with Osiris, she bore Horus, who was the reincarnation of Osiris. It's like so there's this thing about regeneration, about it's like you've crossed a threshold. It's like you're kind of the same person you've always been. At the same time, there's a keener edge to you. There's something brand new about you that may be undefinable, but there's definitely a difference. It's like you're still the same one you've always been, only better. Yeah, that's powerful. It's like you know, whereas Hawk is kind of the messenger of the gods. When Falcon comes up, it's kind of like being the presence. It's like the presence of the divine. It's not even a messenger of the gods. It's like the gods themselves, the divine presence. And the guys are bringing up, I'm not sure what this has to do with it exactly, but technically Falcon is the fastest animal on the planet. When they are diving at their prey, they dive at speeds of up to 200 miles an hour. And so think about the discipline and the just the perceptions of Falcon, the eyesight and everything, to be able to be propelled that fast and to be able to keep on task, to keep on target, to get your prey going at 200 miles an hour. That's huge. So allow yourself to play with it. Allow yourself to experiment and you know, maybe start to kind of step out of the comfort zone and give yourself a little more let yourself reel out a little bit more line and see how it goes, because you can always come back. um, but it feels like this expansion, but not necessarily outward. It's kind of like this expansion inward, a deepening. That's what it is. And just like Falcon going so fast, it's like your intuition is like Quicksilver, and you know things before you even know that you know them. So trust that. Okay. I am being very loquacious tonight. Utena, are you still here? The fourth card is for Utena. And then we will do our community spread. I guess we're just doing 4 cards tonight, so we'll do a 4-card community reading. If I don't run out of time. Okay. Butina, if you're still here, or if you're watching this on replay, your card number 4 is Otter in reverse. And Otter is basically the divine feminine. Otter is about community. Otter is inclusive. Otter, there are no hard edges in Otter's world. Oh, you are so welcome, Kim. I'm glad that made sense. See, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's like I just start talking, and words come out of my mouth. I have no idea if they're going to land, and usually they do. So I'm so glad that made sense. Um, So otter is I don't know of another animal that is so suited to their environment than otter. Otter is almost like an embodiment of the river itself. Otter is like almost like made out of water, right? She's curvy and she flows, and everything she does is in circles and curves. There's no sharp edges in Otter's world. And so in reverse, it's kind of it's a need to flow, to stop fighting the current. Abraham Hicks, who I always recommend if you don't know who that is, there's tons of YouTube videos and stuff. He's one of my default settings. Like when I get really lost or I need to remember what's real and who I really am, I will turn to Abraham Hicks. And one of the things that he says is that, you know, everything you need is downstream, right? He talks about how there's only one source, and it's a source of well-being. There isn't a source of well-being and a source of not well-being. There's one source of well-being. So it flows from that one source like a river, right? Going in one direction, and you either fight the current or you go with the flow. You open to receive that well-being. And so what he says is like stop rowing. Stow your oars in the boat and allow your boat to move downriver. Everything you need is downriver. There's nothing upriver you need to get. Everything you need is downriver. And so it's about surrendering, not giving up. I mentioned Artemis earlier. One of the things that she says to me constantly is don't give up, just surrender. And so it's about surrendering to that flow, right? We from the very beginning of our lives, we're told how sinful we are, or how, we have this idea that humanity is basically flawed in some way, that we're born guilty, that we're born in shame, and that we can't trust our own natures, right? But there's this, he was a priest or a monk named Matthew Fox. And instead of the idea of original sin, he came up with the concept of original grace. And it's one of the things that I love to teach. In fact, I'm putting a course together right now, is about personal mythology and the importance of having a personal creation myth, right? Which is basically the story of how your universe was created. Who is creator to you? How do you relate to that creator? Because if you can't relate to the creator of your universe, of your world, then there's something wrong. What was I trying to say there? You have to be able to relate to your creator because you are an aspect of that creator. And so when we take kind of the Judeo-Christian creation myth that much of our Western society seems to be based upon, it's the idea that humans are basically flawed and we're trying to get better and better and better as we go along, like trying to climb the mountain to get the Holy Grail or whatever the reward is through suffering. And so it's like that people are basically flawed. People are basically bad. That you can't trust human nature. You can't trust anybody. But what if our creation story mentioned how we were we came from love, that there was so much love in the universe that we couldn't help bubbling to the surface. And once, and we became children of the divine, filled with the same love and creative impulses and curiosity as the divine. What if everybody is basically good? Everyone is basically spirit. Everyone is whole. Think about how different our society would be if that was the prevailing attitude, that all people were good, that we came from a place of love rather than a place of sin or corruption or betrayal or whatever. And so I have people write their own creation myth. And if I had more time, I would read you mine. But it basically has to do, it's like, it all began with the swan mother. Everything was the swan, and there was so much love bubbling up in her heart that she was just basically a ball of light. And there was so much love bubbling up, it had to go somewhere. And so she was forced to kind of unfold her long neck and spread her wings and sing this song coming out of her throat to express that love she was feeling. And as she spread her wings, wingtip to wingtip, she created space. And from this song that she sang came the serpent that coalesced into a fire horse. Wow, and it's the year of the fire horse. I wrote that like decades ago. And the fire horse ran and jumped and played through the space that Swan Mother had created. Anyway, and so the fire horse, all these feathers that were floating around from that exertion of the Swan Mother, every time the fire horse would come in contact with one of those feathers, it would burst into flame and become a star. And the sweat from Swan Mother became these saltwater worlds that would start spinning around the stars. And so all the people of those planets were born of this love that could not be contained, that had to express itself. So that, in a nutshell, is the creation story that I wrote. So if it feels good to you, like, write your own creation myth. Who is creator to you? How do you relate? Do you relate to the old man in the sky thing? Some people do. Or is creator something else, an animal, a spirit, a movement, an energy? And what was the catalyst that created, that started the universe, brought the universe into manifestation? And then treat yourself as though you are spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. Treat yourself as though you were whole, as though you are holy, as if you are sacred ground. You are a sacred being of light and love, born of the love of the universe. How would you live your life differently? How would you approach things differently? You might start to be a little easier on yourself. You might find that things start to flow a little easier. And like otters, they have no problems. Any challenges they encounter becomes a game. Because like John Lennon said, there are no problems, only solutions, right? If you think about, always use the New York Times crossword as an example. It's like when they're making that crossword puzzle, they don't do the questions first and try to figure out what the answers are and then fit all the answers into the boxes and stuff. They start with the answers. They start from wholeness and they create the questions around the answers. And so if there are questions in your life, if there are challenges in your life, there is automatically a solution. You can't have questions, you can't have lack without something to fill it. So be easy with yourself. Allow yourself to flow. Allow yourself to color outside the lines. Don't let the world dictate who you are or how you act. If you are spirit, if you are basically good, if you are divine light in a human body, you can trust that everything you do comes from a place of wholeness of heart and that you can do no harm. So, that is our 4 cards. Excuse me, so, excuse me again. There's always a solution, Gudo. In fact, I'm a big proponent of using affirmations, because affirmations basically rewire your brain. They start to shift you from that place of scarcity where all you see are the problems and the challenges, and it starts to focus on the solutions. And one of the affirmations I've used for decades is, there is always a completely harmonious solution for the highest benefit of all beings. There is always a completely harmonious solution. And kind of a short form of that, no matter what's in front of me, only good can come of this. So I hope that helps. Okay, so as I am flipping through the deck looking for the cards from the earlier readings, I just wanted to mention the announcements I made at the beginning, that if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. There are 8 or 9 years worth of these kind of videos, the readings and ceremonies. And there's songs and stories, different things. And by subscribing, you actually, through the algorithm, help other people find me. And please share my videos if you know of someone that would be helped. Oh, you're so welcome, Goodo. I'm glad you were here tonight. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sticking around. I know these nights get kind of long. It's like a 2-hour thing, but so share my videos far and wide. Um, you know, and if you would like to, consider, if you enjoy my videos, if you enjoy my readings, if you get something from them, consider getting a one-on-one reading or a healing session with me. You can check out my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can sign up for readings and healings and teachings. Oh my. Oh, I'm glad. I hope you like them. And so I do the card readings. If you come to me, I do a five card spread, which is why I normally on these videos do the first 5 people, but we only had 4 tonight, so we just do a 4-card reading. But and one-on-one we can go into so much more depth. And with the 5 cards, they tend to, depending on what position they show up in, there's different meanings, and the different cards kind of relate to the other cards in different ways, and we can dive really deep. Thank you, Gudo. I appreciate that. What else? And if you would like to, if you enjoy these videos and you would like to reciprocate in another way, exchange energy, my PayPal and my Venmo links are in the description under this video. And this is my day job. This is how I make my living. So anything you might, if you're called to do so, anything you wish to give me to support me and my path, my videos, making sure my kitty has a roof over her head and food in her belly. It helps me to be able to focus on doing these videos and on my own spiritual path, so that I have more experience and wisdom to bring to the table to share with you. So traditionally, the shaman supports the community, and the community supports the shaman. So it's this beautiful reciprocity. And I love my job. I just utterly, utterly love my job. Okay, I'm trying to do these in order. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And if you are or have been a student or a client of mine, hi Moon Honey! This coming Saturday, the 11th, starting at noon, we're going to be meeting I'm going to do what I'm calling a student council. We're going to do like a council circle. Like we're going to do ceremony, we're going to drum, and basically just catch up, because there's so many people that I've kind of lost touch with over the years. And so it's an opportunity for us to get together in one place again. And for me, it's going to be kind of an opportunity to get some feedback on how I can better serve the community, like what kind of classes people are looking for, what other shamanic things can I do to support my students and clients and my community at large. So if you are a student or a client of mine, you are invited. It's free. I hope to see you there. And then the following Saturday, in the same place at Riverview Park in Renton at noon, I am going to be teaching my Introduction to Shamanic Journey class. It's a 3-hour class, and not only will you learn about shamanism, you will actually learn you will learn the technique called shamanic journeying that shamans have used for 100,000 years. to access their own spiritual guidance, to talk to their own spirit guides. And through that, you will meet one of your own power animal guides. And so you will be starting a conversation, starting this relationship that can last for lifetimes. So if you're local, if that sounds cool to you, I love teaching this class. It's the class that I took a class like this. It was like one of the first things I did after my divorce. And I just, boom, it was like a life changer. And so this class is all you need in order to begin your own shamanic path. And even if you're not called to be a shaman, anybody can utilize these techniques and this perspective, this way of looking at life and stuff. So I think that's it for now. So our final community reading, I'll go a little bit quick because I'm running low on time, but let me turn my phone down so you can see. Let's see, maybe I can turn that. There we go. So these are the 4 cards that came up today in the individual readings. And so because we are all connected, I like to show how our individual challenges and paths intersect and interweave into what's going on in the community. And so with a 4-card reading, usually the first card, I don't do 4-card readings a lot, so I have to remember kind of thinking out loud. It's like the first card is where we're starting. The second card is the challenge. The third card is the gift that we have to get through the challenge. I might be mixing those two up, but that's what I'm going to go with tonight. So that's like what we bring with us, our strength to meet the challenge, and then the outcome. So in those terms, if we start here where we're starting from, we have Moose in reverse. And so Moose is about self-esteem. Like I mentioned, it's about radical self-acceptance. It's about majestic dorkiness. And so in reverse, it's kind of like coming from a place of not really knowing who we are, not recognizing our own gifts, our own callings, our own vocations in life. And so it's kind of like that's the quest. Like if this was the hero's quest, it's like that's the catalyst that's getting us to move forward. Like feeling like we are so much more than just the surface. Feeling like there's so much more to me than just what is apparent to the physical senses. And so it's kind of that longingness for wholeness that starts us on our path. And the thing with the hero's journey, right, is it's a circle. You always end up back where you started. And so it's like this belief in worthlessness, this belief in being inadequate, this belief in not being good enough. When going out into the world and then coming back, what we will be finding is that wholeness, that we had it in us all along. That we are each sovereign in our lives, that we each have that radar dish connecting us to spirit, connecting us to creator, and that we are what's the word I'm looking for? Self. We are enough. I'll put it that way. That we are enough. That who we are and our connection to spirit and the divine is the only thing we need. That's our only source of power that we need to be ourselves. And who we are is enough. We don't owe anybody explanations or permission or justifications for what we're doing. We are each in and of ourselves complete. Because you can't feel like something's missing. This is what I was saying earlier about the moving from a place of scarcity and lack to a place of solutions. You can't feel a sense of lack unless there is something to fill that lack. We're in a closed system. So if there's a sense of lack, there is automatically something to fill that hole. So as we leave, our challenge, our seeming clumsiness that comes from trying to hide ourselves or trying to be acceptable and just show the acceptable parts of us, makes it even harder for us to see our true selves, to behold who we really are, to have that self-compassion. It's like we move out into the world, and the world is full of trolls, just like the internet is full of trolls. And if we don't have that self-compassion, if we don't have that belief and trust in ourselves as worthy, we're going to be running and bowing and fighting our whole lives just for survival. And it's like the trolls in the world. It's those things that oppose us or are in conflict with who we think we are that determine who we are in the world. So this is the challenge is this lack of self-realization, this lack of self-confidence, knowing yourself. That's the challenge. But the good news is that the gift we have to come through this. I was talking earlier about how a lot of times when the card comes up in this deck, it's like the animal that comes up is not necessarily the one who is being called forth, but it hints at it, like hawk. And like I was talking about hawk, but at the same time too, I had this definite sense of falcon. Like there is no falcon in this deck, and so hawk comes up, but as I'm connecting to the spirit of hawk, it's like all of a sudden falcon is present. And falcon, like I said earlier, falcon is the divine presence. Falcon is like Horus, the Egyptian god Horus, the falcon-headed god with the eye of Horus, right? And Horus is the most powerful god, king of the gods, all of that stuff. So it's like what we have, that what do I want to call it? The thing that we have with us that we, back here we can't see it, we don't know about it, but just because we can't see it or believe in it doesn't change the fact that we are the divine presence, that in our essence We are divine light and love in the world. That we are spirit in a human physical body. That is the key to moving through these and realizing who we really are. To realize that the answers aren't out there someplace, that the divine has been within us all the time, right? And where this is leading us, we have Otter in reverse. And Otter is like the divine feminine. And so, in reverse, it could be kind of summarized as the patriarchy, right? Like I said earlier, there are no hard edges in Otter's world. Everything is curved, everything is smooth. And in reverse, it's like the world that we're overcoming. I think it's in reverse because the fact that Otter is here means that Otter medicine is actively working toward the same goals that we are. Otter is here to help us and eventually to shift things to a world of softness, a world based in love rather than control, based in love rather than fear, based in inclusiveness, right? This is fear. This is trying to control the river. This is being a part of the river. And so when we start out here, what we're looking for is who we really are. And it's leading us to this place of shifting. Give me a second. I'm wanting to tune into this card in particular a little bit deeper. Give me a minute. So the message I'm just getting from Otter is that, like I was saying with Hawk, with Falcon, the answers are all within us. The solutions are all around us. And we can make the future as difficult or as easy as we want. By letting go and surrendering to what is true, what is real. In other words, the intangibles, love, oneness, unity, wholeness. That's when we start to move into harmony with that one source of well-being. And we start to live in a world of connection, of inclusion, of community. And so that is where we're coming to. We're working on shifting that. It's like we can have it if we want it. War is over if you want it. And through all of this, well, maybe not with Falcon, but with all these other ones, there's this softness. There's this ease. There's this smooth going, this flow. And so to write all of these, we have to truly look at ourselves through compassion, see our true selves, let those true selves shine, and claim ourselves as part of the flow, right? We are not, um, we are not just a part of nature. We are nature. And the world around us reflects the world within us. And as we learn to better love ourselves and have compassion, give ourselves grace, and we mature into our sovereignty, into our majesticness, dorky as it may be, we find our place in the mosaic of the universe, the mosaic of nature being an integral part. No matter who you are needed, you are necessary, and you are a part of that overall love. So that is the community reading. Oh, that's an interesting question, Moon Honey. In your shamanic journeying, have you ever seen the all-seeing eye of the earth? I have not. I never. I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to do that journey. I have journeyed to the heart of the universe. You're so welcome, Gudo. It is my pleasure. Like I said, I love my job. And like I always say, if you leave and are not at least a little more empowered when you leave me than when you came to me, then I haven't done my job. So I hope that is all helpful. But Moon Honey, I did a journey, and it just came to me at one point. You're so welcome, Kim. I'm glad that was meaningful to you. I did in a class with some of my students. We journeyed to see the heart of the universe. And that was amazing. And I'm not sure if I could actually describe it right now. It was like this pulsing golden, I don't know. It was amazing. It was something cool, but I'm gonna journey. I will do that journey, and then we can compare notes. That would be awesome. Hoofda. All right, well, that is our time for tonight. Thank you for joining me. It is an honor and a privilege that you spend the time you spend with me, that you take time out of your own life to listen to me. So thank you, especially those who have stuck through to the very end. I appreciate you all. I hope that was helpful. And I guess I hope to see you again next week. If you're interested, again, Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific time, I do a Sacred Pipe live video where I do a Sacred Pipe ceremony, kind of to give people the opportunity to sit in sacred space at least once a week for about an hour or so, and just kind of open up to spirit and smoke I kind of go through the story of the Chinupa, the sacred pipe, and why we smoke it and everything. So if that sounds interesting, join me then. I hope to see you soon, and until I do, know that I love you, that I see you, that I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right, bye now.